Chapter 1. Understanding the basics of communication. Communication is much more than simply talking. It's an intricate dance of speaking, listening, observing, and responding. To become a masterful communicator, you must first understand the fundamental components of communication: verbal communication, non-verbal cues, and listening. When it comes to verbal communication, the words you use are critical, but how you say them makes all the difference. The tone, pace, and pitch of your voice convey emotion and intent. Think about a time you heard someone speak in a rushed or high-pitched tone. How did it make you feel? Perhaps you felt anxious or rushed as well. Now, think of someone who speaks in a calm, steady voice. Their words come across as more thoughtful and measured. Before speaking, pause for a moment to adjust your tone to match the mood of the conversation. If you're giving feedback to a colleague, use a calm and encouraging tone rather than an authoritative or critical one. Practice speaking slowly when you're explaining a complex idea to ensure clarity and give the other person time to process your words. Non-verbal communication includes body language, facial expressions, gestures, and eye contact. Have you ever experienced a situation where someone said one thing, but their body language suggested something entirely different? Perhaps they smiled while saying something hurtful, or they crossed their arms while giving a speech, signaling disinterest. Check your body language. Stand or sit tall, maintaining open posture. If you're talking to someone, try to keep your arms uncrossed, as this conveys openness. Make appropriate eye contact. Too little can seem evasive, and too much can feel intimidating. Practice mirroring the other person's body language subtly, as this creates rapport and fosters connection. Listening isn't passive. It's an active skill. Active listening involves fully engaging with the speaker, not only hearing the words, but understanding the emotions behind them. When someone shares something important, are you truly listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? Practice active listening by eliminating distractions. When in a conversation, put your phone down and focus solely on the speaker. Nod occasionally to show understanding and ask clarifying questions when necessary. For instance, if someone is explaining a problem at work, you might ask, "Can you elaborate on how this is affecting the team?" This shows you're engaged and willing to understand their point of view. Chapter 2. Clarity and communication. One of the most essential skills in effective communication is clarity. The clearer your message is, the easier it is for your audience to understand and respond appropriately. Whether you are sending an email, delivering a presentation, or engaging in a casual conversation, ensuring your ideas come across without confusion is key to being a successful communicator. Before you speak or write, take a moment to plan your message. What is the core message you want to convey? Ask yourself, what do I want the listener or reader to think, feel, or do after receiving this information? For example, in a business meeting, if you're proposing a new project, you might ask, what action do I want the team to take after I explain this idea? If you're communicating over email, consider breaking down the information to make it easier to digest. Use bullet points, numbered lists, or headings to organize your message. For instance, if you're explaining a new process, structure your message in a logical sequence. Step 1, initial planning. Step 2, resource allocation. Step 3, implementation. This helps the recipient understand the process without feeling overwhelmed by a large block of text. When presenting ideas in person, it's equally important to plan how you structure the information. For example, during a client presentation, on a marketing campaign, you could begin by addressing the purpose of the campaign. Our goal is to increase brand awareness by 20% in the next 6 months. Then, transition to the strategies that will drive that outcome. We will leverage social media, content marketing, and targeted email campaigns. Keep in mind that too much information can overwhelm your audience. Focus on the essentials and avoid unnecessary jargon. This will help maintain their attention and avoid confusion. For example, rather than going into detailed marketing terms, explain your strategy in simple terms. We'll reach our audience through engaging posts and emails that offer valuable content. Visual aids can significantly enhance clarity, especially when explaining complex ideas. If you're presenting intricate data or concepts, visuals like graphs, charts, or slides can help your audience grasp the information quickly. If you're discussing financial results, consider showing a graph that compares the current quarter to previous quarters. If you're explaining a process, a flowchart can illustrate each step in a way that's easy to follow. In a team meeting, you might present a roadmap for an upcoming project using a timeline graphic. This visual provides clarity by showing key milestones and deadlines, making it easier for your team to understand the project's progress and where they fit in. By making your communication clear and structured, you'll reduce the chances of misunderstanding, keep your audience engaged, and ensure that your key points are retained. Chapter 3: Emotional Intelligence in Communication. Effective communication is not just about what you say, it's also about understanding and managing emotions, both your own and others. Emotional intelligence plays a significant role in how we interact with others, and it's a critical component of communication. It allows you to empathize, regulate your responses, and build stronger relationships through thoughtful and empathetic exchanges. Imagine a scenario where a colleague is upset because of a delay in a project they've been working on. Recognizing their frustration allows you to adjust your response accordingly instead of reacting defensively. You might say, "I understand this delay has caused frustration, and I share your desire to get back on track. Let's work together to find a solution." This approach helps to calm the situation and redirects the conversation toward problem solving. Before you enter any conversation, especially a difficult one, take a moment to check in with yourself. What emotions are you experiencing? Are you feeling rushed, stressed, or anxious? These feelings can negatively affect how you communicate, often leading to reactive or defensive behavior. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a few deep breaths and center yourself before speaking. This pause gives you the opportunity to think clearly and respond with intention. Emotional intelligence also involves recognizing the emotions of others. During a meeting, if you notice that a colleague seems disengaged or frustrated, it's essential to acknowledge their feelings. A statement such as, "It seems like you're feeling frustrated, and I want to make sure we're addressing your concerns," opens the door for dialogue and shows respect for their perspective. During a negotiation, instead of reacting to a disagreement with defensiveness, take a moment to acknowledge the other person's viewpoint. You might say, "I see that you have concerns, and I appreciate you sharing them with me. Let's work together to find a resolution that benefits both of us." This shows emotional maturity and creates an atmosphere of collaboration rather than conflict. In situations where emotions run high, such as in disagreements or when tensions are rising, emotional intelligence can help maintain a calm and productive conversation. By acknowledging emotions, regulating your own reactions, and responding empathetically, you create an environment of mutual respect and understanding. In the workplace, emotional intelligence can be a game changer in team dynamics. If a colleague feels unheard or misunderstood, acknowledging their emotions can build trust. By fostering a workplace culture that values empathy and emotional awareness, teams can communicate more effectively, resolve conflicts quicker, and collaborate with greater ease. In difficult conversations, remember to stay grounded. Pay attention to your body language and tone, ensuring that you're projecting calmness and openness. This can have a profound effect on how others perceive you, encouraging them to communicate more openly with you in return. By practicing emotional intelligence, you will not only improve your communication skills, but also build stronger, more effective relationships. Whether it's with a colleague, a client, or a friend, understanding emotions and managing them thoughtfully will transform how you interact with others. It's an essential skill that will help you navigate the complexities of human interaction with ease and grace. Chapter 4: The Power of Body Language. Body language speaks louder than words. It's a powerful and often underestimated tool in communication that can reinforce or even contradict what you're saying. Your posture, gestures, and facial expressions convey emotions, confidence, and intentions in ways that words alone cannot. When used effectively, body language can be a tremendous asset in getting your message across. Before engaging in any significant conversation, it's crucial to check in with your body. How are you holding yourself? Are your shoulders tense or relaxed? Are you slouching or standing tall, exuding confidence? The way you carry yourself affects not only how others perceive you, but also how you feel. When you stand tall and maintain good posture, it signals to others that you're confident and approachable. A good rule of thumb is to make sure your body is open and relaxed. Uncross your arms, keep your hands visible, and ensure that your posture invites interaction rather than discouraging it. In a job interview, for example, your body language can make a significant impact on the impression you leave. When speaking, lean in slightly to show interest and engagement, but don't invade personal space. Maintain good eye contact to show attentiveness and use hand gestures to emphasize key points. A steady but not intense gaze can convey confidence, while looking down or fidgeting with your hands can give off an impression of uncertainty. Try to avoid slouching in your chair or crossing your arms, as this can seem defensive or disengaged. When giving a presentation, your body language should support your message. Moving around the room can help keep your audience engaged, but be mindful not to pace too much. A well-timed gesture, such as a hand moving upwards while talking about growth, or a slight head tilt when making a reflective point, can add weight to your words. Standing still for moments when you're delivering key points can create a sense of authority and stability. Equally important is the facial expression you wear. Smiling when appropriate, for example, can establish rapport and make you appear approachable and trustworthy. On the other hand, furrowing your brow or avoiding eye contact can make you seem distant or untrustworthy. Practice being aware of how your face expresses emotion, especially when discussing sensitive topics. If you're talking about something serious, make sure your facial expression aligns with the tone of your words to prevent mixed signals. By becoming mindful of your body language, you can create a positive, engaging communication experience that enhances your effectiveness and the connection with your audience. Whether you're speaking to a colleague, presenting to a group, or engaging in a one-on-one conversation. Chapter 5. The art of persuasion and influence persuasion is an invaluable skill, not just in professional settings, but also in personal relationships. It's the ability to guide others toward a solution or decision that benefits everyone involved. The art of persuasion goes beyond making a simple argument. It's about connecting with your audience, understanding their perspective, and framing your message in a way that resonates with them. One of the most powerful tools of persuasion is storytelling. People are hardwired to respond to stories because they engage emotions, provide context, and make abstract concepts tangible. A well-told story can be far more persuasive than a list of facts or statistics. Let's say you're trying to convince a potential client to adopt a new product. Rather than simply listing its benefits, share a story about how it helped someone overcome a specific problem. For instance, Sarah was facing a major bottleneck in her operations, and after using this product, she managed to cut her processing time in half, allowing her to focus on scaling her business. This humanizes your message and makes it more compelling. When presenting a new idea or proposal to a team, consider framing it in the context of a challenge that the team has previously faced. This idea came from a problem we encountered last quarter. Here's how it helped one of our clients achieve better results. This not only provides context, but also demonstrates that the idea has been thought through and tested, making it more credible. Effective persuasion also requires a deep understanding of your audience. What are their values, concerns, and priorities? By understanding where they are coming from, you can tailor your message to resonate with them. For example, if you're trying to get your manager to approve a new budget for a project, you'll want to highlight how it aligns with the company's long-term objectives and addresses key needs within the team. Focus on how your proposal benefits them, and show that you've considered their interests. If you're trying to persuade a colleague to support a change in the way a project is managed, try to understand their reservations. Ask open-ended questions, like, what concerns do you have about this approach? Once you understand their perspective, you can better address those concerns and tailor your message to offer reassurance. Showing empathy and consideration for their position will help you gain their trust and buy-in. Above all, remember that persuasion is not about manipulating others. It's about creating win-win situations where everyone's needs are met. Always approach persuasion with integrity and transparency, and your ability to influence will grow exponentially. Chapter 6. Handling conflict and difficult conversations. Conflict is a natural part of human interaction, whether at work, with family, or among friends. How we handle conflict can make the difference between strengthening a relationship or damaging it. The key to resolving conflict effectively lies in our ability to remain calm, focused, and respectful, even in the face of disagreement. Communication in these moments is critical, as it can determine whether the issue is resolved constructively or escalated further. When you find yourself in a heated discussion, it's important to start by acknowledging the other person's emotions. For example, let's say a colleague is upset about a project delay. Rather than jumping straight into problem-solving mode, begin with empathy. You might say, "I can see you're frustrated, and I understand why this delay is concerning." This validates their feelings and helps to diffuse the immediate tension. The simple act of acknowledging their frustration can set a positive tone for the conversation. Once you've acknowledged their feelings, steer the conversation toward finding a solution. Focus on how to move forward rather than assigning blame. A helpful approach is to frame the conversation as a collaborative effort. For instance, let's figure out how we can adjust the timeline and resources to make sure we both succeed. This mindset transforms the conflict from an adversarial exchange into a joint problem-solving exercise. In a more intense conflict, such as a disagreement with a colleague over a project deadline, avoid getting defensive or making accusatory statements. Instead, take a step back and ask open-ended questions to gain clarity on the other person's perspective. What do you think might be a reasonable solution to this issue? This invites collaboration and ensures that the conversation remains focused on the resolution, not the problem. In difficult conversations, it's essential to regulate your own emotions. If you're feeling frustrated, take a deep breath before responding. Sometimes pausing for a few seconds before speaking allows you to gather your thoughts and respond in a more measured way. If you find yourself becoming defensive or angry, it's helpful to excuse yourself from the conversation briefly to regain composure. The goal in any conflict is not to win, but to reach a mutually beneficial outcome. By staying calm, showing empathy, and focusing on solutions, you can resolve conflicts constructively and preserve important relationships. Remember, effective communication during conflict builds trust and strengthens your ability to navigate future challenges with grace. Chapter 7. Mastering communication. In teams, communication within teams is an essential element that underpins success. Effective teamwork relies on clear, open, and honest communication, which fosters trust, collaboration, and mutual respect. When communication is strong, team members feel valued and the collective effort can work toward common goals. Without it, even the most talented teams can struggle to coordinate their efforts and achieve desired outcomes. In a team setting, one of the key challenges is ensuring that every voice is heard. It's crucial that team members feel comfortable sharing their ideas and opinions. This starts with creating an environment where active listening is a priority. Instead of waiting for your turn to speak, practice listening attentively, asking follow-up questions, and showing genuine interest in your colleagues' perspectives. For example, if a team member shares an idea that you don't fully understand, ask them to elaborate. Can you explain how this would work in practice? This not only encourages deeper discussion, but also makes the other person feel heard and valued. Furthermore, in decision-making, it's important to involve everyone. While there are times when leadership needs to make final calls, good leaders make it a habit to involve their teams in the decision-making process. This inclusion doesn't just boost morale, it also increases the likelihood of team buy-in and commitment to the outcome. For instance, instead of making a decision on a new project on your own, invite team members to contribute their thoughts and ideas. I'm thinking about moving forward with this approach, but I'd love to hear your input before we make a final decision. During team meetings, foster a culture of inclusivity by encouraging quieter members to share their thoughts. Sometimes, people hesitate to speak up because they feel their ideas won't be valued. To counter this, directly invite others to contribute. For example, instead of assuming someone is disinterested, say, "Sarah, what are your thoughts on this? We haven't heard from you yet." This simple action encourages the quieter team members to voice their ideas and helps create an atmosphere where everyone feels like their contributions matter. In brainstorming sessions, communication should be a collaborative process. Rather than dominating the conversation, be intentional about making space for others to contribute. Try phrases like, "What does everyone think about this approach?" Or, "I'd love to hear your ideas on how we can improve this strategy." This not only helps generate a wider variety of ideas, but also ensures that everyone is included in the creative process. When people feel heard, they're more likely to be invested in the success of the project and contribute their best work. Effective. Communication in teams isn't just about what's said. It's about creating an open, respectful environment where people are encouraged to share their thoughts, challenge each other constructively, and work together toward a common vision. When everyone has a voice, teams thrive, and the collective effort becomes far more impactful. Chapter 8. Becoming a Master. Communicator. Mastering communication is an ongoing journey, not a destination. Like any skill, becoming a proficient communicator takes time, practice, and conscious effort. Whether you're looking to improve communication in your personal life, your professional interactions, or your leadership role, you can transform your abilities by focusing on the fundamentals and continuously honing your skills. The first step is to understand that communication is multifaceted. It involves both verbal and nonverbal elements. Words are powerful, but how you say them, your tone, pacing, and volume can significantly impact how your message is received. Similarly, nonverbal cues like body language, facial expressions, and posture can either reinforce or contradict your words. For example, if you're trying to reassure a colleague, your words should match your body language. Making eye contact, nodding, and maintaining an open posture can convey warmth and confidence, strengthening the message. Equally important is active listening, a cornerstone of effective communication. Truly listening means being fully present in the conversation, without distractions or interrupting. It's about understanding not just the words being spoken, but the emotions and intentions behind them. Active listening also means asking clarifying questions to ensure you've understood the speaker's message. If someone expresses frustration, ask, "What would make this situation better for you?" This shows that you care about their perspective and are willing to find a solution together. Emotional. Intelligence is another critical component of effective communication. Being aware of your emotions and recognizing the emotions of others allows you to respond thoughtfully and empathetically. For instance, if someone is upset, you can acknowledge their feelings by saying, "I see this is frustrating for you, and I understand why it would be." Showing empathy fosters trust and encourages more open communication, which is essential in any relationship or team dynamic. Persuasion is also a key skill in becoming a master communicator. It's about influencing others in a way that's respectful, ethical, and constructive. The best communicators don't just present information, they craft their messages in ways that resonate with their audience. They use storytelling to make their ideas relatable, and they highlight the benefits of their proposals in a way that aligns with their audience's values and goals. For example, if you're proposing a new initiative, frame it by telling the story of how the idea came to life and how it will positively impact both the team and the organization. People are far more likely to be persuaded by a compelling narrative than by a simple list of benefits. To become a master communicator, it's essential to practice these skills consistently. Start by paying attention to your interactions with others, whether it's a quick email, a formal presentation, or a casual conversation. Notice how you speak, listen, and respond, and seek areas for improvement. Ask for feedback from trusted colleagues or mentors on how you can communicate more effectively. You might be surprised at how much insight they can offer. Effective communication also requires adaptability. The way you communicate will differ depending on your audience. Speaking to a senior leader requires a different approach than speaking with a peer or a subordinate. Pay attention to the context of each interaction and adjust your communication style accordingly. Are you engaging in a brainstorming session? In that case, you might lean into a more informal, collaborative tone. Are you presenting a business proposal? Then a clear, concise, and professional approach would be most effective. Becoming a master communicator doesn't happen overnight. It's a continuous process of learning, applying, and refining your skills. By focusing on the fundamentals, verbal and nonverbal communication, active listening, emotional intelligence, and persuasion, you'll not only improve your ability to connect with others, but also create meaningful change in your relationships and the outcomes you achieve. Remember, communication is about more than just conveying information. It's about building relationships, fostering understanding, and creating a lasting impact. Practice these skills every day, and over time, you will become a confident, influential communicator who can navigate any conversation with ease and purpose.